Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Kunja Bihari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari
Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari
Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Jashodanandana
Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana
Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Narayanam namaskritya
Narayanam namaskritya
Naram Shaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jam Udirayat.
Tato Jaya Mudiraya.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead. Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi. The supermost human being. Unto Mother Saraswati. The goddess of learning. And unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Shrinvatam Svakatha Krishna. Punyashravana Kirtanaha. Hridyantastoya Bhadrani. Vidhu Noti Surit Satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire from material enjoyment, from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages. Which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nasta Preshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatya Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance and classes on the Bhagavatam, and by the rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. I can relate to that last one. So by regular attendance and classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise of transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. That's true. I mean, it would take, I don't know what it would take to pry devotees away from lotus feet of Krishna. I guess mine. It happened this already, right? Yeah. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Another beautiful day out there. It's text 7, second canto. I believe it's chapter 4.
Yeah.
Text 7. There's actually 6 lines to this verse. Are they all 6 up there? All 6 lines?
All 6.
Please repeat. Oh, do you do word by word first, or do you do line by line?
One word at a time.
That's how they did last time. Please repeat. Yata Gopayati Vibur Yata Gopayati gopayati vibhur
Yatha gopayati vibhur
yata samyachate punah
Yatha samyachate punah
yata samyachate punah yam shaktim ashritya
upashritya
yam shaktim upashritya
Yam shaktim upashritya
Puru Shakti Paraha Uman Puru Shakti Paraha Uman
Puru Shakti Parapuman
Atmanam Kridayam Atmanam Kridayam Atmanam Kridayam Karoti Vikaroti Cha
Karoti Vikaroti Cha.
This verse has a very musical, poetic type flow to it. It's very beautiful. Yata gopayati vibhur
Yatha gopayati vibhur
Yata samyachate punah
Yatha samyachate punah
Yam shaktim upashritya
Yam shaktim upashritya
Puru Shakti Parapuman
Puru Shakti Parapuman
Atmanam Kridayam
Atmanam Kridayam Kridam
Karoti Vikaroti Cha
Karoti Vikaroti Cha.
Anybody like to try?
Yatha
Yata
gopayati vibhur
Yatha gopayati vibhur
Yatha samyachi punaha
Yatha samyachate punah
Yam shaktim upashati
Yam shaktim upashritya
Puru Saktim Puran
Shakti Parapuman
Atmanam Kridam
Paravukriya
Karoti Vikaroti Cha
Yatha gopayati vibhur
Yatha Gridayati Vibhur
Yatha samyachate punah
Yatha samyachate punah
Yam shaktim upashritya
Yam shaktim upashrita
Puru Shakti Parapuman
Pura shaktim puranam
Atmanam Kriyayam Kridan
Adhanam Hridayam
Karoti Vikaroti Cha.
Karoti Vikaroti Cha
Yatha gopayati vibhur
Yatha gopayati vibhur Yatha samyachate punah Yam shaktim upashrita Pura shaktim puranam Atmanam Hridayam Karoti Vikaroti Cha Yatha gopayati vibhur Yatha samyachate punah Yam shaktim upashritya Puru Shakti Parapuman cha.
What is that? Yum yum sounds like food.
Yum yum.
I hate sound yum yum.
That would be a better name for those fruits.
There's a
Yum
restaurant.
yum. Yum yum fruits.
There's a restaurant.
There's yum yum yum.
Anybody else?
Yata
Yata
kupayate devur.
Yata samyachate guna.
Yata samyate guna.
Yam yam shakti upashritya.
Yam yam shakti upashritya.
Shakti parapuman.
Guru shakti parapuman.
Atmanam kridayan kridam.
Atmanam kridayam kridayam.
Roti karoti cha.
Karoti karoti cha.
No one else?
That yum yum will make me hungry.
It says yum yum just means as, A-S. Please repeat. Yata,
Yata
as.
as
Gopayati,
Gopayati
maintains.
maintains
Vibahu, the
the
great.
great.
Yata,
Yata
as.
as
Samyachate,
Samyachate
winds up.
winds up.
Unaha,
Unaha
again.
again.
Yum yum,
Yam yam
as.
as
Shaktian,
Shaktim
energies.
energies.
Upashritya,
Upashrita
by employing.
by employing
Guru Shakti,
Guru Shakti,
the all-powerful.
the all-powerful.
Paraha,
Araha,
the supreme.
the supreme.
Human,
Human,
personality of Godhead.
personality of God.
Atmanam,
Atmanam,
plenary expansion.
Expansion.
Hridayam,
Hridayam,
having engaged them.
having engaged them.
Hridam,
Hridayam,
as also personally being engaged.
as also personally being engaged.
Karoti,
Karoti,
does them.
does them.
Vikaroti,
Vikaroti,
and causes to be done.
and causes to be done.
Cha,
Cha,
and.
and.
Please repeat. Translation. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord,
Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord,
who is all-powerful,
who is all powerful,
Powerful.
engages his different energies
engages his different energies
and different expansions
and different expansion
in maintaining
and maintaining
and again winding up
and again winding
the
up
phenomenal world
the phenomenal world
in the sporting spirit of a player.
and the sporting spirit of a player.
Translation. Kindly describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Purport. In the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13, the Supreme Lord is described as the chief eternal being amongst all other eternal individual beings, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitanam, and the one Supreme Lord who maintains innumerable other individual living beings, Niko Bahunam Yo Vedati Kama. So all living entities, both in the conditioned state and in the liberated state, are maintained by the Almighty Supreme Lord. Such maintenance is effected by the Lord through his different expansions of self in three principal energies, namely the internal, external, and marginal energies. The living entities are his marginal energies, and some of them, in the confidence of the Lord, are entrusted with the work of creation also, as are Brahma, Marichi, etc., and the acts of creation are inspired by the Lord unto them. Tene Brahma Hiridya. The external energy, Maya, is also impregnated with the jivas, or conditioned souls. The unconditioned marginal potency acts in the spiritual kingdom, and the Lord, by his different plenary expansions, maintains them in different transcendental relations displayed in the spiritual sky. So the one Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in many, Bhagavatam Sham. And thus all diversities are in him, and he is in all diversities, although he is nevertheless different from all of them. That is the inconceivable mystic power of the Lord, and as such, everything is simultaneously one with and different from him by his inconceivable potencies. Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Translation. How we describe how the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, engages his different energies and different expansions in maintaining and again winding up the phenomenal world in the sporting spirit of a player. So, the verse before this and the verse after it also relate to this verse. The previous verse translation was, I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead, by his personal energies, creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. So there's the key word right there, is inconceivable, even to the great demigods. So what ability do we have to describe creation, maintenance, sustenance of God's energies? Then the text 8 translation is, O wonderful Brahma, the transcendental activities of the Lord are all wonderful, and they appear inconceivable, there's the word again, because even great endeavors by many learned scholars have still proved insufficient for understanding them. So I was just ready for Sri Devi today, when she, at the end, she always probably always challenges her professors, So I was ready to explain, well, it's very inconceivable. What do you expect from me to explain this? Prabhu says that for us, it's not about dry philosophy, when we're talking to the Karmas. We don't want to have it to be dry philosophy. We have the whole system. It's all there, the whole explanation of how everything is created, maintained, destroyed. All the facts. If they want to do it chronologically and also by how many years it all takes, we have everything, whatever they want. They can research it. It's just that whether they have the desire to. And also, the thing about our philosophy is that we create a personal, we follow personal conception of the Lord, and he's involved in all our activities. He's the center of everything that we do. So if that's not attractive to a person, they can still be engaged in devotional service. Krishna says, all of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. And everyone follows Krishna's path.
Sri Devi's in New Orleans, that's why she's not here.
Yeah, she sings very nicely, gives really nice classes, but she likes to always find that point in the purport that's controversial or something like that. So, and I was just ready to tell her that, well, we don't have to be the smartest person in the room, Prabhu said, because there's always somebody more intelligent, than we are. That's not important. Prabhu said, what's important is that we tell them about Krishna. That's the important thing.
But today you were prepared, though.
I was prepared. I said, I was going to say, Sri Devi, do you know how much a Spanish galleon weighs? The Spanish galleon weighs 1,200. Prabhuji? You may know this. Yeah, you know that. He knows. 1,200 tons. 1,200 tons. A Spanish galleon, a wooden ship, warship. I was going to say, you're kind of like that. You seem innocent, floating along. But all of a sudden, all those port windows come open and all the guns are ready to fire. And then all aimed at me.
I think sometimes she likes to provoke discussion.
Yeah.
Because I know she knows something.
Oh, no, but I was going to tell her, you always already know the answer anyway, and then you back up with 4 verses at the end of class. You already know the answer.
Oh, Hold on. Hold on. We always thought that she's so smart, right? And we're always asking her. I accidentally caught her. We were just reading the other day. Bhagavad Gita class. So I had this question, I had an idea what happened when when Arjuna was seeing Krishna's Vishwarup, right? So the question is that whether he asked, in that battlefield, Krishna turned into a four-arm form and then the four-arm form back again. You remember that, right? The chapter is like now we are 12 something and I can't remember. But I had a feeling I knew that he asked Krishna to see whether he can show. But she answered no. She said, when we were asking the question, we were reading, she said, no, Krishna just showed it to him. But then when we flipped the other page, the page says, Arjuna asked Krishna, and she was like, oops.
She was very fearful of that.
Yes, and she went, oops, did I say that? I said, yes, you said that.
Yes.
And that's the first ever time I see that she
Well, you know how I give a class now? I used to give more freely, speaking off of my experiences and stuff. But I've learned really what I do to play it safe is I just read from the books. And if you've got a problem, it's with a problem. It is with a problem. I mean, if you have a problem.
Just to let you know, she can go wrong, and that was the first time I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
That she read Bhagavad Gita many times,
Yeah.
You have to let it slip,
You have to admire her service.
It's so smart.
I remember there was one devotee I thought was my friend, up at the farm in Tennessee. And so what he would do, I'd give class, and he would always bring out, just like Sri Devi, like the most difficult part of the purport, and it's like, and then in addition to that, there's a slant to it. Where is this coming from? You know what I mean? And so after about at least 3 times of that, I kind of got tired of it. So in class, it was so obvious to everybody, But then I started doing it to him. And then in class he said, well, he's doing this to me because I do it to him. After that, he never gave me any problem.
The last one, you should have heard, the last one she was singing all the hymns of the church, and we were all like hallelujah and chanting and all that stuff. That was just 2 days ago. Is anybody here?
Yeah, I was in.
Yeah. That was such a fired up Christian
I think she's Catholic background, right?
I don't know. We all go to Christian school, She was singing some of the Christian songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't it? Wasn't she was doing that?
Yeah.
Singing
She was
songs.
singing the Christian song.
Was going to a mass that day. Was really
Yeah, it's Catholic. Yeah, Prabhupada has built a house for the whole world to live in. And we're just standing at the door trying to get people to come in. Please come. We should not be standing there arguing with people. I mean, that is, I'm just saying, I'm changing the subject kind of. I mean, what I mean is, like, there was this one Maji who came back from missionary work, but I think she was on her own kind of. And she came by the Huntsville, Alabama location, with her daughter. Anyway, so I won't get into details, but I was amazed at how much, I'm not getting into details, can't get into details, but she had an argumentative slant on everything. I was thinking to myself, because she was very angry at the result. She did get a good result in this preaching location, but it was very obvious. Why? Because even after the fact, she was still bringing up arguments, and she was so angry that people wouldn't cooperate with her, you know what I mean? And I was thinking, she was trained wrong, or maybe she does it on her own, maybe she needs to be retrained. But, you can attract, is it bees or flies with honey?
Bees with honey.
It does say flies in the expression.
It does say flies in the expression. How's the expression go?
It's better
You attract more flies with honey
than
than
vinegar.
vinegar. Good.
It's the expression.
If that way, yeah.
But who wants to attract flies in it?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like I'm thinking bees.
That's why I thought you wanted to attract it.
Yeah. So also, and of course, I guess I explained this before. Maya Angelou said that people always forget what you said, and we know that.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that, you know. They lose interest after the first few sentences, you know, unless they actually ask a question and then get really, oh wow, that sounds interesting. How many people say that? I mean, all the preaching that we've done over the years, you know, it's like, even when they pretend to be interested, it's they're kind of like, okay, I can't wait to use my iPhone, you know, see what's going on, you know what I'm saying? That's what they call it, right? iPhones. Is that what everybody calls it?
Smartphones.
Most people call them smartphones.
But if you have a,
Things change so quickly, I can't keep up.
if you have an Apple, it's called an iPhone.
An iPhone.
Yeah.
Yes,
If you have
smartphone is the
Apple-
generic term. You can.
But Apple is called.
I was in Atlanta the first day that they came out with, now this was probably 8 years ago, but it was the iPhone or something. It was a new thing, the Apple store there in the mall. Lenox Mall,
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And all those people were lined up. I couldn't believe it. It was incredible. It's like they must be waiting to see Krishna or something. I don't know. Is Krishna there? Let me see. They're all attractive. And it's a little device, you know, that attracts all of their attention. Anybody have any comments so far?
Mine in a box.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, like you said about this lady, whoever it was, we have a horrible, horrible situation here on Sunday. And there's one lady here, you know, arguing with Maharaj, and Maharaj is so heavy with her. We have to be careful,
We
you know.
missed that one.
I left right before she started, otherwise I would drag her out. It was so bad, they said.
So you could have done that. You could have gotten away with it.
You know, I know now that she's going to do that.
Yeah.
When I see her on the road, I'm going to distract her to go take her somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's what I have to do. I just need to know what to
Well,
do.
this is being
I mean, she
recorded.
means well and everything, but you cannot go off like that. There's so many people here on Sunday feast, guests, you know, and she just
So that brought to mind when I was talking about that Manaji.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Very argumentative.
Yeah.
Very argumentative.
Blaspheming the devotees right in front of the deity.
Oh, that Manaji also, yeah.
I
I
mean,
heard
it's
about it.
like no one would do that.
Blasphemy, the devotees right from the
And
deity.
Maharaj, and
But I heard
Maharaj-
at the end she offered obeisances for sure, Prabhupada.
What is the
Is that true?
point is that I didn't see that part, they just
Oh.
told me. And Maharaj was very upset and offended, I don't know to what extent.
Yeah.
He didn't even show up the next day. He's supposed to give crap.
No.
I don't know what happened, and he probably think that same lady come, he doesn't know, he doesn't live here. She's not from here either, she's
Oh,
from
yeah.
New Orleans. I mean, to bring up things happened 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago, you know.
I heard that Astika was really instrumental in explaining how she's a guest, you know. That's what I heard anyway.
That was smart.
Oh, you did you tell Maharaj that?
No, no. I don't know.
Yeah, he had to know because I thought you'd think somebody living here going off the place.
Yeah.
I understand her frustration, but that's time and place, you know, for that. You can always talk about.
I mean, you can just see your devotional life just going down the drain. You know, when you're offending devotees.
We know.
You know, I know I've told you this before, but there's one Maharaj that I quoted, and he said that when we lose our enthusiasm for devotional service, Gunnar Maharaj, he's passed away, but he said that when we lose our enthusiasm for devotional service, that means we've offended a Vaishnava, and then we have to retrace our steps. That's not easy to do, because we're committing offenses all the time, you know. But he says, he's like, obviously he's self-realized, and he's telling something that he's learned, you know. I remember that lecture, I was writing notes all the way through it, and everything he said was like, wow, so spot on, you know what I mean? And I never forgot that part, you know, because I don't want to commit offenses to the devotee. I don't want to, you know what I mean? And familiarity breeds contempt. That's what we were warned of in Radhanavadar in the early days. They gave us a lot of good advice. That was one of the things they told us. Familiarity, because we're in the vans together, we're in the buses together all the time. And familiarity breeds contempt. So, and going out and preaching is a relief valve also. Going out and preaching, you know what I mean?
I was just telling about what is the point of doing that? Do you get any productive thing happen out of it? What is the point of it?
Of what,
Of her going off like that, you know?
Yeah, why did she do that?
Because she has so much frustration with devotees. I understand that. But, you know, things happen, this, that.
What does she
especially
mean?
in the New Orleans temple, you know?
What was she talking about? She said, you're from India, you should know better.
Yeah, but she's been here forever, you know, she has done a lot. So my husband also thinks like that. But you are at the, you're late 70s, you know, you should be thinking and remembering Krishna. But here you are upset and mentally disturbed about the devotees and criticizing and being offensive. How is that helpful, I was asking.
Oh, you asked her that?
Yeah, I mean, she married me, you know, she takes things like I'm like her daughter, you know.
Oh.
I can talk to her.
Oh,
I would have escorted her out to go see the garden or something, you know, I'm not offensive.
Prabhu says Krishna consciousness is a self-manifesting peaceful condition.
Yeah.
And the first austerity of the mind is serenity. That's what I like to tell people. Just meditate on that word serenity. And then simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purity of thought. The austerities of the mind. But that first word, it really holds the mind toward peace, you know, serenity. Of course, it's all connected to Krishna. If you're chanting the Maha Mantra, you're so blissful, so much more blissful. Yes, Prabhu.
In the Nectar of Instruction, we were reading last night, it talks about we're going to have anger, but we need to direct it in the correct way. We're going to have it. You're going to get mad. You're going to get angry. You're going to feel offenses are made. But we should really direct it protecting devotees. Now, I interviewed, I think it's the same person, and this lady has put in a lot of her life, blood, sweat, and tears in the movement. And she felt that it was really a travesty of how things were
Did you want to say something, Manji?
treated.
I'm sorry.
And so she's not explaining it in a way that devotees have been hurt, people have been, this needs to change, or this needs to be recognized, and amends, you know, if it's about self, and I don't detect self. When I talk to her, I feel if she's trying
She
to...
raised her hand a long time ago.
I want Krishna to finish it.
Okay, yeah, sorry. You're through, Prabhuji? She wants
Almost.
you to finish.
But so, in a way, it's kind of righteous, but in another way, it is some... I put in so much of my time.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful not to look at, I was offended.
Yeah.
And I, speaking for myself,
That's the hard
I
part.
have to be very careful about saying somebody said, I won't, you
Well,
guys offend me, and I got to swallow that and put that someplace.
Shyam
When
Sundar says
when
that.
somebody else once and hurt somebody else, I got to stand up.
Yeah, in other words, you can bottle it up for so long, then you can explode.
You got to be careful.
You know, Shyam Sundar said that that's the hard part. In the early days, the hard part was surrender. Yes, Mataji, what were you going to say?
Now that you brought up about serenity, all of the 12-step groups are based on serenity prayer.
Right?
And they've helped so many millions of people, and that they say that prayer at the beginning and end of every class. That's like, and there's so many things in the groups that they teach you, like association is like a mirror image. There's so priests actually wrote the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, but there's so many things. I don't know if they were connected, you know, if the priests were familiar with the Vedic teachings or what, but they say you've got to, you know, it's all about association. But I was going to tell this story from Guru Maharaj, Jayapataka Maharaj, at the New Orleans temple on Sunday once. There was a 22-year-old student from UNO, and he started asking Maharaj questions, and he wasn't offensive, but it's like he just wouldn't, he just kept on and on and on, and Guru Maharaj he was so patient. He spent so much time with this, and he had asked about him, you know, what you do, and, you know, he's a 22-year-old student at UNO, and Maharaj tried so many different angles to get him to say Hare Krishna, and I think we had just been chanting, and he wouldn't chant or something, and finally, you know, after Guru Maharaj worked on him and worked on him, and finally Guru Maharaj started saying, can you say it? Can you say Hare Krishna? And he changed the subject, and Guru Maharaj said, no, can you say Hare Krishna? Can you say it? Will you just say it? And it took so much, and this boy finally said, all right, Hare Krishna. And he goes, now your spiritual life has begun.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Wow.
It took, and he was so patient.
Wow. Thank you, Manaji.
I wanted to say something about when there have been big mistakes made and ISKCON wrongs done, okay? So, but we get something and we forget how many good things were done by these same people.
Right.
And it usually, almost every case, outweighs the bad. So, just like recently we had this whole spell of a situation that seemed like nobody was doing anything about it. You know, I mean, meetings and meetings and meetings and meetings, and no decision was successfully made. You say, no, they're just not doing anything. And then it worked. And all the problem makers have left. And all of a sudden I understand they were doing the job. You know, the leaders were doing it. It just took some time, and they made sure and everything. But all of a sudden I just saw the whole as the ladies doing their best. And then I appreciated everybody.
And Prabhu says, what do you want from them? They're trying their best to serve Krishna. Yeah, but it's not easy though for us. I mean, like who are in the middle of all of the turmoil or whatever. For anybody who's in the middle of it, whatever. I can just like managing anything nowadays. I mean, it's. I don't care. I can imagine karmis, you know, and not only that, but in today's atmosphere, you could be CEO or you could be a judge, federal, all kinds of judges that are being uprooted and replaced now, and even a big judge has spent their life getting to their position can be like replaced with the person, this person who wants in office, you know, that has the power.
Somebody had it. Is your hand up? Or she's holding the wire.
Oh.
Rajapati, did you raise your hand?
I always think about how it says it's easier in this age to rule an empire than to manage a family.
Easier to rule an empire. Where'd that come from?
It's in there somewhere. I read it 20, 30 years ago
Oh,
when I had a family.
I want to read you also.
It's in the Bhagavatam.
Remember recently we did a verse where Maharaj Picture gave up the whole world, right? And I told you there was but anyway, I have the information because I told you I was going to say about it. Solomon the Magnificent, you've heard of him?
Yes.
Ottoman Sultan. He expanded the empire to the greatest extent, and he renounced the power for God. He renounced everything for God. Solomon.
He was famous.
From 1496 to 1566. Yeah, can you imagine? The Ottoman Empire. They call him Solomon the Magnificent. And he gave up, of course, obviously he didn't give up the whole world. That would be a Maharaj Picture. You know, but it's not easy. You mentioned empire, so I thought I mentioned that. Was there anyone else? I think.
Mother Krishna?
It's not important right now, but when you were thinking about that, I was thinking about that walk that Prabhupada had, and I don't remember names, but the man was very, a little offensive because he was getting insulting Prabhupada, saying, why are you always criticizing about this, not about that, not about it?
Dr. So-and-so. Doctor.
But later on he realized his offenses and he had to bow down to the Lord's feet and Prabhupada was crying.
Yeah.
Prabhupada so forgiving.
Yeah, he bowed down later. He was crying, wasn't he?
Yeah, Prabhupada so forgiving.
But Prabhupada still said that from now on we'll just read the Krishna book because he'll again become offensive on those morning walks.
He would also have Krishna actually said it in that verse, the one about how the Buddhas, how the rascals and the fools will divide me, and that you were saying even in other people can understand it.
I was at Sam's Club up in Huntsville, Alabama, and this was like 10 years ago. And there was an Indian family, and I like to talk to everybody, and I usually don't do it in these big professional stores like, I do, but I don't give them literature because I'm a member. I get kicked out, But I give them a card or, websites. But it was an Indian family, and it was the husband, the wife, the children, the grandparents. They're all walking along, and the grandparents, I guess, were at the tail end of it, and I just happened to talk to him first. The grandfather, senior person, he was real favorable. Oh, but this is a Christian family. His son came up. Oh my God, I caught it. Did I catch it? I really caught it. Yeah, he laid into me. He really laid into me. Oh yeah, I said, wow, this is a new one. Hearing Indians talk this badly about Krishna, ooh, this is a new one. This is. So I backed away quickly. It's like I got burnt. They burned me. But it kind of felt like I'm laying my soul open, and then there goes a branding iron. Walk away. It's like anyway.
The other thing I was thinking of too, when you're talking about the demigods, I know we're not supposed to be offensive, but it's in the Christian book. You see so many different times when they'll say, this Christian, he can't be the supreme personality. And they say how Brahma took all the calves and the cattle. Later on, Krishna, finally he realizes, oh yes, and again, there's like a whole feeling of, I offended the Supreme Lord, and of prayers and forgiveness and obeisances.
Yeah, there's certain ways you can say things like, if you were to be preaching and tell a Christian, if you want to be a real Christian, follow this process. You don't say that. You don't say that. You don't say that. We don't say the things like that. But what you do say, if you want to get closer to Jesus and God, this process will help. Prabhu says that this process will polish what you already believe, your religion. It'll simply polish it and make it shine. So we don't say negative things. That's not good. We say positive things, to our friends. They're our friends. We're all friends in the spiritual world. We don't want to create more problems between living entities. We want to encourage real love. We're Vaishnavas, well-wishers to all living entities. So it's wonderful. We feel better when we say positive things too. But truly positive would be transcendental topics about Krishna.
What I try to say too is, I'll say about how even in our scriptures, Prabhupada is mentioning different things that were quoted from the Bible, like what profits a man if he gains the whole entire world but loses the immortal. So where that verse was, whatever percentage that you have when you're doing your Krishna consciousness is like a spiritual bank account. That percent, Krishna is so kind of loving, and he'll give you that opportunity to continue in your
it's kind of like, as a little boy, especially in the old days, you'd have a little cigar box or shoe box under your bed, all of your favorite items, and ladies do this too, girls do this, they have their little things they write in, journals and things like that, things that are special to you. And it's kind of like, if you were to be like negative about, well, ours is the only way, like some people do, and your way, well, it's okay, but it's not the way. Well, that's kind of like saying, somebody trusts you enough to just show you their personal items, in their shoebox. All these things mean so much to me. I put them over my life. Say, well, yeah, those rocks look okay. They're kind of shiny. They could be shinier though. And you got some pretty cool baseball cards, there. But you don't really have any real that are worth a lot of money. You know what I mean? Those comic books are kind of nice, but they kind of tore up. You could have took better care of them. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. I mean, it's nicer to say good things. We feel better also. Because, again, I don't like to talk about Fed, but I see it personally because I'm mentoring to him. I have been for years, and he's living there. And he was going to start chanting one round, and he does not even chant one round, not even after you were so merciful to him. He still does not pick those beads up and chant any per day. And I can see the things going on around him affect him, and he gets upset. It's like, Prabhuji, if you want to be transcendental to these things, just chant the Maha Mantra. You'll feel so much better, and you will be transcendental on a transcendental platform. These outer things won't affect you so much. His blood pressure, I can look at his veins, and I can tell when his blood pressure is up.
He's starting to come in the mornings, though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's coming.
yeah, I said, what do you want from them? They're trying to serve Krishna. But I was just trying to tell them, all of these things going on around you, they would not bother you so much if you were chanting the Maha Mantra. You'd be so much more relaxed. But like you said, that one boy that just could not chant, say Hare Krishna, there's something that holds Faith back. I think it's mostly his mind. He's always on the mental plane. I had to calm him down because he talked to you all the way down and back, right? And then the first thing I said, Prabhuji, I told you I have to study from 7 to 9 for class tomorrow. You know, because he was talking about all this stuff. It's like, ooh, it's, you know what I mean? Because he all been talking, right? He was turned on, full volume. Like, Prabhu, I have to study. And he said, okay, I won't talk. Because he started talking Christian stuff. You know, philosophy is connected. Says he tries to connect it all to Krishna. But he gets way off in those tangents, you know. Got to pull him back to Krishna every time. He said, all these things will not bother you, the things you're upset about too, if you just chant the Maha Mantra. It's so simple. The process is simple for the simple, complicated for the complicated. Anybody else want to say anything? It's 8:30, looks like.
Yeah, it's time.
It's time. Okay, I'll go to Srila Prabhupada, go to Shishi Gauranitai, Shishi Radha, the boys are similar Vaishnavas. Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.